Okay, today we're here to talk about Interzoid's batch processing for Azure SQL. And specifically, we're going to talk about company name matching and normalizing data, finding duplicates, all the different organization name challenges that you might find within Azure SQL tables or any data set for that matter. But in this case, we're going to be focusing on these types of data challenges from a company or organization name inconsistency standpoint. You might have different ways to represent IBM, International Business Machines, IBM Corp, and so forth. And it makes it very difficult to analyze data within a data set, glean any business intelligence or reporting when data is not normalized. It also makes it difficult to match data across multiple data sets. And so here we can quickly identify and discover these kinds of data challenges directly from data within Azure tables. You can see here's the actual UI for the Interzoid batch processing. And you can see that this interface tool at azurebatch.interzoid.com can work with all of Interzoid's APIs, not just the matching ones, but also the premium enrichment, all sorts of different things that you can do with the data. And in this case, I've got let me just show you some Azure data that we're going to connect to. And a couple things I want to point out first. When we run this, here's where we will put our connection string. And there's some instructions for how to set that up. It's pretty easy. The Azure SQL connection strings will show you the documentation. You can also check the step-by-step guide. And you can create a separate table, a read-only connection, whatever the case may be, whatever it makes sense for making the data available for this particular product to access it, read it, and then analyze it so it can provide the results. Of course, you also need an API key that enables you to access the Interzoid API. So, for example, company name matching. Or any one of these, they all share the same API key. You can also get that by going here and getting an API key, and trials are available. Okay, so let's just look at some simple SQL data that you might run across here. For example, I had run a query. It's got two columns, company and category. So you can see it's got company names, Best Western, Samsung, Food Lion, the Apple Store. This is just Azure SQL Online. And that's just simply showing the data that you're accessing without making it too much of an Azure SQL demo. And so all you need after you have your connection string, which provides access to the database, if you simply provide the name of the table, which in this case is companies, and then a lookup column of company, of the individual company. That's what we're going to call our company name matching API with the values from this particular lookup column. And so the tool is going to go through the table one record at a time. And then for each record, it's going to generate what's called a similarity key. And the idea behind the similarity key is that all the different permutations of a company name, Bank of America, B of A, Bank of America Corp, whatever the case may be, all generate the same similarity key. And then you use that string-based similarity key as the basis for a match in kind of a fuzzy matching way, or as the basis for normalizing or actually standardizing the data. And of course, this will all go to an output file. So all I have to do once that's set up, connection string, table, lookup column, all I need to then do is click run. It'll connect to the table. And then for all of the company names that were in there, it did generate a similarity key. And so you can see here, for example, each one of these is the unique similarity key. And then this output file could be used to find records that share. So for example, you can see Apple Corp and Apple Computer both share the same similarity key. and so those would be considered a match. There might be some other examples here. For example, you can see the tea shop spelled two different ways. And you can also display these results in a grid, so I can filter. And so, for example, if I have Merit, both First Merit Bank and 1ST Merit, they share the same similarity key. Which what you want to do is you could load this output file back into Azure if you'd like and use it as the basis for matching data, or you could just sort by similarity key, and those records that share the same similarity key will be next to each other. Simply just save these results. And that's all there is pretty much to it. The same works the same way for individual matching, street address matching, product name matching. Similarity keys are generated, and those company names, entity names that are very similar in spelling or using company designations such as Inc. Corp., whatever the case may be, they will share the same similarity key, and that makes matching across data sets. Within a data set for normalization purposes, you can set up some standardization rules based on it. This is just kind of the beginning, a tool you can use to identify records that are very similar. You could also generate individual keys and company name keys, and so you could say if the company name key and the individual keys match, there's a good chance that's the same person, even though it could be Bob and Robert, for example, for an individual name, and at IBM and IBM Corp. And so forth. These similarity keys are the basis of how the matching is performed, and these are generated by the Interzoid API from knowledge bases, various algorithms, using AI, several different ways that these are done in order to be able to find the match. One other thing to point out, this is of course the user interface, but if you wanted to run this in batch from the command line, maybe as part of a data pipeline or as part of an ingestion process, ETL, ELT, whatever the case may be, you can just set up this whole thing where you have your API key, your connection string, all the different pieces of information that this used in order to generate these similarity keys within a process or a workflow. That's pretty much it. If you have specific questions on how it would work, on how to set up the connection strings, getting the API key, the similarity key generation, contact us at support@interzoid.com, and we'll show you how to use the name matching to identify the similarity, redundancy, duplicate records, all that stuff within Azure SQL, but also how to do the same, enrich that data using all of our enrichment APIs and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use this tool and some of our other tools to connect to Azure SQL data, and in the end achieve a much greater data ROI for everything you're doing with that data. Again, hope to see you at www.interzoid.com. Thank you.